So this is how we saw a very fearful depiction what happens at the time of death, how the body is attacked by different diseases, all the gates of the bodies are disturbed, the whole body is set to fire, and the superintendent of police, the subtle body, is also forced to leave. Okay, and the Puranjan is thinking of all the activities he has performed. Okay, Lokantaram gatvati maya natha kutumbani vartishyate katham tvesha balakana anushochati. Yeah, right.
Puranjan was anxiously thinking, alas, my wife is encumbered by so many children. When I pass from this body, how will she be able to maintain all these family members?
So
Alas, she will be greatly harassed by thoughts of family maintenance.
Yeah. So Lokantaram, Lokantaram into different life, into different planet maybe, Loka. Gatvati may, when I am gone. Okay. Anatha Kutumbani, my wife and surrounded by family members, bereft of husband. Matishe Katham Tvesham Esha Balakan Anushochati. How this woman, my wife, will take care of all these children. He's lamenting. Okay. Please, purport.
All these thoughts of one's wife indicate that the king was overly engrossed with thoughts of women. Generally, a chaste woman becomes a very obedient wife. This causes the husband to become attached to his wife, and consequently, he thinks of his wife very much at the time of death. This is a very dangerous situation, as is evident from the life of King Puranjan. If one thinks of his wife instead of Krishna at the time of death, he will certainly not return home back to Godhead, but will be forced to accept the body of a woman, and then will begin another chapter of material existence.
Yeah. Okay. So normally, now we are in the male of a body of a male. So previously, most of the male-bodied living entities were females, and most of the female-bodied living entities were males in their previous lives. So now, after getting this knowledge, we should be very careful. Have you heard of that story of disciple of Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, a lady? He was a book distributor in previous life. What was his name? He was in London, no? Ratnamala. That Mata was Ratnamala, and the book distributor was. Yeah, yes, his. Yeah, proper disciple was there. Huh? Not heard. It's available on the net. No, you're searching for that. Yeah, searching.
No, it's on my email.
Yeah. Very interesting story. The Ratmala, she liked to associate with His Holiness, Bhakti, disciple of Bhakti Charu Maharaj. Then she used to perform kirtan. She used to go out on Sankirtan. She used to play Mridanga, and so she was the only Mataji accompanying Sankirtan, because in the previous life she used to do that. It's a very interesting story. Are you getting that? It's available on the net if you see, no? I was thinking of doing in the break time, but I forgot.
Sri Raghavdas Brahmachari.
Yeah. Do you have the complete story with you? Can you read, please?
The reincarnation of Sri Raghavdas Brahmachari. 1954 to 1973.
Yeah.
Introduction. I have remembrance of my past life, my last past life as a brahmachari named Raghav Das. This has come about through a sequence of dreams that were later found to be real of events in the life and death of Raghava as confirmed by those that knew him. His post-mortem injuries and my birthmarks, scars, and illnesses all correlate. My diary of revelations. I am of Hindu descent and was born on 9th August 1975 in London. My parents had a small shrine at our home with many photos of demigods and Lord Sri Krishna. One day I opened a drawer and there was a book written by Srila Prabhupada. I cannot remember the title, but when I looked at the back cover, I was drawn to the picture of Srila Prabhupada on it. I remember that when I looked at him, his eyes were very deep. I felt like he was asking me to come back home. Come back home. October 1991. I was brutally attacked in my high school field by a drugged up man who was trespassing. He continuously beat me with a fence log with nails on it with full force on my head. I used my hands to protect my head. As he continued hitting me, the pain was incredible. My Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Even though he was striking my head and hands, I suddenly realized that he could not hit the real me, which was something inside my body. I screamed for help, but no one was around. So I prayed intensely, please God help me, please God help me. A voice from within started guiding me, saying, pretend you're dead. So I pretended to be dead and he stopped hitting me. Then the voice said, open your eyes, now he has gone. I was scared because if he was still there, I would be killed. Opening my eyes slowly, I was relieved to see that he was no longer there. The voice then guided me, now get up and go. I was exhausted from the beating and did not want to get up. Then the voice mentioned, what if he comes back again? There is a time for you to escape. Immediately I got on my feet and saw that my hands and head were covered with blood. After this horrific incident, it took me some time to recover emotionally and physically, but I felt like I owed my life to this voice that saved me.
Yeah, so there's a big thing. You can read later on, but it's very interesting. You know. It's in a blog of ISKCON Desire Tree, reincarnation of Sri Raghav Das, Brahmachari. Okay, so how she was so much attractive. I'm not getting here. I'll show you on the screen. Anyway, so it was very interesting. This Mataji was Raghav Prabhu, and then she used to go with the Sankirtan of Tribhuvan Prabhu. You know, everything was matching. So he was a brahmachari book distributor, got attracted to a Mataji, book distributor, but left his body in an accident, and then got that. Became a devotee, but Mataji body. You know, so it's very. Once Patri Prabhu, he was telling us that a group of Russian devotees had come to Mayapur, and they were taking bath in Ganga. So one devotee almost drowned, and he was saved. With a lot of difficulty, he was saved. He was taken to hospital and everything. So the devotee was asking, "What was your experience, Prabhu?" So he started crying. He said, "What happened?" Well, when I was drowning, I was about to leave I thought that I'm just gone now. Suddenly, an advertisement flashed in front of me. A Mataji, smiling Mataji. No? One advertisement he had seen long back. That thought came. And said, I don't know why that thought came, because And when I was young, non-devotee, I used to very much enamored by that mother, that model. So that came, and it was nice that I was saved, otherwise gone. So it's very important. Sometimes we have so deep impressions from our previous lives also. So whatever the impression is deep, it will come out at the time of death.
Guruji, Raghu Prabhu has left his body at 73.
Yeah.
Mataji took in 75.
Yeah.
So what would happen
Maybe one more, but I don't know. That's not mentioned. That we are not all knowing. We are not Paramatma. That we can close the link. Whatever it is, so that way. Okay. So it's very interesting. It's a science. It's a perfect science. Okay. So we should not take it like, okay, it's a theory. It's a perfect science. So it's a kind of a warning to all of us. So we should be very, very careful where our consciousness is going. Right? Na mai anashite bhunkte na nashnate snati matpara mai rushte susanstrata bhati sate yatva bhagyat.
Translation. King Puranjan then began to think of his past dealings with his wife. He recalled that his wife would not take her dinner until he had finished his, that she would not take her bath until he had finished his, and that she was always very much attached to him. So much so that if he would sometimes become angry and chastise her, she would simply remain silent and tolerate his misbehavior. Purport. A wife is also supposed to be submissive to her husband. Submission, mild behavior, and subservience are qualities in a wife which make a husband very thoughtful of her. For family life, it is very good for a husband to be attached to his wife, but it is not very good for spiritual adoption. Thus, Krishna consciousness must be established in every home. If a husband and wife are very much attached to one another in Krishna consciousness, they will both benefit because Krishna is center of their existence. Otherwise, if the husband is too much attached to his wife, he becomes woman in his next life. The woman being overly attached to her husband becomes a man in her next life. Of course, it is an advantage for woman to become man, but it is not an advantageous for man to become a woman.
One of our congregation devotee, he had a cancer. So they had Gaunita in their home. Both were devotees, initiated devotees. So when he was about to leave his body, he said, the wife should not come in my room. Only keep Gaunita in front of me. So devotees were there in the side doing kirtan. He didn't want to see. He thought maybe, I'm not sure. If I see the wife, like he's remembering, my wife was like this, my wife was like this. Okay. Similarly, Kadam Kana Swami Maharaj, when he was about to leave his body, he was all alone. He didn't want to see anyone. No? He didn't want to see anyone. So once His Holiness Badrinath Maharaj wanted to have his audience, and at the gate, Jayadut Maharaj was standing. He was not allowing anyone to come. So they both were having fight. Badrinath Maharaj was saying, let me go and have his darshan once. He said, no, let him be alone. He wants to be alone. So they were like talking like this. So inside, Kadam Khan Maharaj was there. Then he said, please, he is such a seniority, let him come in for a few seconds. So that is the meditation. A person is about to leave his body, he just wants to be alone, think about Krishna. So that any person comes, if I start remembering something, he did that, so my meditation will be stopped. So that must take care they take. So otherwise the wife was there, he was thinking about wife only. Okay. Prabodhyati mavigyam yushite shokakarshita vartametat medhiyam vira surapi neshyati. Yeah.
Translation. King Puranjan continued thinking how when he was in a state of bewilderment, his wife would give him good counsel and how she would come aggrieved when he was away from home. Although she was the mother of so many sons and heroes, the king still feared that she would not be able to maintain the responsibility of household affairs.
Yeah.
Purport. At the time of death, King Puranjan was thinking of his wife, and this is called polluted consciousness. And Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, Mama anse jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana mana sashtani nuriyani prakratistani antarasani. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses and include the mind, which include the mind. The living entity is after all part and parcel of the Supreme Spirit Krishna. In other words, Krishna's constitutional position and living entity's constitutional position are the same qualitatively. The only difference is that the living entity eternally an atomic particle of the Supreme Spirit. Mama anse jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. In this material world of conditioned life, the fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord, the individual soul, is struggling due to his contaminated mind and consciousness. As part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, a living entity is supposed to think Krishna. But here we see that in Puranjan, living entity is thinking of woman. Such mental absorption with some sense object to bring about the living entity's struggle for existence in this material world. Since King Puranjan is thinking of his wife, the struggle for existence in the material world will not be ended by death. As revealed in the following verses, King Puranjan had to accept the body of a woman in his next life due to his being overly absorbed in thoughts of his wife. Thus, mental absorption in social, political, and pseudo-religious, national, and communal consciousness is cause for bondage. During one's lifetime, one has to change his activity in order to attain release from bondage. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Yajna artha karmano netra lokoyam karma bandhanam. If we do not change our consciousness in this life, whatever we do in the name of social, political, religious, or communal and national welfare will be the cause of our bondage. This means we have to continue in material conditional life. As explained in Bhagavad Gita, Manha Seshtani Indriyani Prakrati Sthani Karshati. When the mind and senses are engaged in the material activities, one has to continue his material existence and struggle to attain happiness. In each and every life, one is engaged in struggle to become happy. Actually, no one in this material world is happy, but the struggle gives a false sense of happiness. Person must work hard, very hard, and when he attains the result of his hard work, he thinks himself happy. In the material world, people do not know what real happiness is. Sukham atyantikam ettad buddhim graham atindriyam. Real happiness must be appreciated by one's transcendental senses. Unless one is purified, the transcendental senses are not manifest. Therefore, to purify the senses, one must take to Krishna consciousness and engage the senses in the service of the Lord. Then there will be real happiness and liberation.
Yeah, actually, we'll be happy when all the senses are satisfied. So, without sense gratification, one cannot be happy. But sense gratification means which senses? Our real senses, eternal senses. Bhakti is eternal sense gratification. Okay. So, here what we are doing is we are trying to satisfy our senses. These are not the senses, they are the coverings of the senses. So, however hard we will try, we will not be able to, like Prabhupada gives an example. You cannot relish the rasgulla, with the tape put around your mouth. You cannot relish that. So, real senses are transcendental senses, the senses of the soul. So, when we are purified, so then we can attain that happiness. Okay. Otherwise, it's a struggle only, right? If the wind passes over a garden of roses, it will carry the aroma of roses. And if it passes over a filthy place, it will carry the stench of obnoxious things. Similarly, King Purjan, the living entity, now passes the air of his life over his wife, a woman. Therefore, he has to accept the body of a woman the next time. Right? Nice analogy. Okay. Katham nu darakahina darakir vaparayana vartishyante maigate bhinnava ivadadau. Yes.
In Puranjan continued, Uri, after I pass from this world, how will my sons and daughters who are now fully dependent on me live and continue their lives? Their position will be similar to that of passengers aboard a ship wrecked in the midst of the ocean.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Purport. At the time of death, every living entity worries about what will happen to his wife and children. Similarly, a politician also worries about what will happen to his country or his political party. Unless one is fully Krishna conscious, he has to accept a body in the next life according to his particular state of consciousness. Since Puranjan is thinking of his wife and children and is overly engrossed in thoughts of his wife, he will accept the body of a woman. Similarly, a politician or so-called nationalist who is inordinately attached to the land of his birth will certainly be reborn in the same land after ending his political career. One's next life will also be affected by the acts one performs during this life. Sometimes politicians act most sinfully for their own sense gratification. It is not unusual for a politician to kill the opposing party. Even though a politician may be allowed to take birth in his so-called homeland, he still has to undergo suffering due to his sinful activities in his previous life. The science of transmigration is completely unknown to modern scientists. So-called scientists do not like to bother with these things because if they would at all consider this subtle subject matter and the problems of life, they would see that their future is very dark. Thus, they try to avoid considering the future and continue committing all kinds of sinful activities in the name of social, political, and national necessity.
Yeah. Prabhupada is very hard. Evam kripanaya bodheya shochantam adharanam grahitum krit dhirenam bhayanama bhipadyata.
Although the Puranjana should not have lamented over the fate of his wife and children, he nonetheless did so due to his miserly intelligence. In the meantime, Yamana Raja, whose name was fear itself, immediately drew near to arrest him.
Yes. Such a description, yeah.
Foolish people do not know that every individual soul is responsible for his own actions and reactions in life. As long as the living entity in the form of a child or boy is innocent, it is the duty of the father and mother to lead him to a proper understanding of the values of life. When a child is grown, it should be left up to him to execute the duties of life properly. The parents, after his death, cannot help his child. A father may leave some assets for estate for his children's immediate help, but he should not be overly absorbed in thoughts of how his family will survive after his death. This is the disease of a conditioned soul. Not only does he commit sinful activities for his own sense gratification, but he accumulates great wealth to leave behind so that his children may also gorgeously arrange for sense gratification.
So this is the disciplic succession of miseries. Parents are miserable, the next generation should also be miserable. They pass on the miseries. They think they are passing on the wealth, passing on all the estate, they're planning for that, but they're planning to pass on the miseries. Whatever they have suffered, my next generation should also suffer. Because until unless we give them, pass on Krishna consciousness, it's only misery. So this is how whole world is illusioned. So we are so fortunate, now we are in the family of a bona fide guru-disciple succession. This is our family. So this is a real family. Normally the people married, our vansh, our dynasty should continue. Dynasty of miseries only. Dynasty of sufferings only. So this is not the purpose. The purpose is that Guru na syat, Janurina Syat Padam. Until unless na moksha diya samupeta mrityu. That should be the purpose. So, yeah.
In any case, everyone is afraid of death, and therefore death is called bhaya or fear. Although King Puranjan was engaged in thinking of his wife and children, death did not wait for him. Death does not wait for any man. It will immediately carry out its duty. Since death must take away the living entity without hesitation, it is the ultimate God realization of the atheists who spoil their lives thinking of country, society, and relatives to the neglect of God consciousness. In this verse, the word atat arhanam is very significant, for it means that one should not be overly engaged in welfare activities for one's family members, countrymen, society, and community. None of these will help a person to advance spiritually. Unfortunately, in present day society, so-called educated men have no idea what spiritual progress is. Although they have the opportunity in the human form of life to make spiritual progress, they remain misers. They use their lives improperly and simply waste them thinking about the material welfare of their relative, countrymen, society, and so on. One's actual duty is to learn how to conquer death. Lord Krishna states the process of conquering death in Bhagavad Gita 4.9. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattva tattva deha punarjanma ariti mahamiti sura. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in the material world, but attain my eternal abode, O Arjuna. After giving up this body, one who is fully Krishna conscious does not accept another material body, but return home back to Godhead. Everyone should try to attain this perfection. Unfortunately, instead of doing so, people are absorbed in thoughts of society, friendship, love, and relatives. This Krishna consciousness movement, however, is educating people throughout the world and informing them how to conquer death. Harim vinana mrityum taranti. One cannot conquer death without taking shelter of the Supreme Personality.
Pashuvad yavaneresha niyamana swakam kshayam anvadravanupatha shochante brashamatura.
When the Yavanas were taking King Puranjan away to their place, binding him like an animal, the king's followers became greatly aggrieved. While they lamented, they were forced to go along with him.
Yes.
Purport. When Yamaraj and his assistants take a living entity away to the place of judgment, the life, air, and desires, being followers of the living entity, also go with him. This is confirmed in the Vedas. When the living entity is taken away or arrested by Yamaraj, the life air also goes with him. And when the life air is gone, all the senses also go along. When the living entity and the life air are gone, the lump of matter produced of 5 elements, earth, water, air, fire, and ether, is rejected and left behind. The living entity then goes to the court of judgment, and Yamaraj decides what kind of body he is going to get next. This process is unknown to modern scientists. Every living entity is responsible for his activities in this life, and after death, he is taken to the court of Yamaraj, where it is decided what kind of body he will take next. Although the gross material body is left, the living entity and his desires, as well as the resultant reactions of his past activities, go on. It is Yamaraj who decides what kind of body one gets next in accordance with one's past.
Yeah. Okay. Purim vihai yopagat uparuddho bhujangama yada tam evanu puri vishrina prakatim gata.
The serpent who had already been arrested by the soldiers of Yavanaraja and was out of the city began to follow his master along with the others. As soon as they all left the city, it was immediately dismantled and smashed into dust.
City was smashed to dust. This is a long purport.
When the living entities arrested all his followers, namely the light, air, the senses, and sense objects, immediately leave the lump of matter, the body. When the living entity and his companions leave, the body no longer works but turns into basic metal elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. When a city attacked by enemies is bracketed by its inhabitants, the enemy immediately takes advantage of that city and bombards it to smash the whole thing to dust. Means
Huh?
Ashes and
Yeah.
when we say dust do art and unto dust do shall return, we refer to the body. When the city is attacked and bombarded by enemies, the citizens generally leave and the city ceases to exist. It is a foolish person who engages in improving the condition of a city without caring for the citizens or inhabitants. Similarly, a living entity who is not properly enlightened in spiritual knowledge simply takes care of the external body, not knowing that the spirit soul is the principal factor within the body. When one is advanced in spiritual knowledge, the spirit soul is saved from eternal transmigration. The Bhagavatam considers those who are attached to their bodies to be like cows and asses. Sa eva goka. The cow is a very innocent animal and ass is a beast of burden. One who labors under the bodily conception simply works like an ass and does not know his self-interest. It is therefore said,
Yasyaatmabuddhe gunape tridhake swadhikalatvene shubhoma ijjadi yatirtha buddhi salinena karchet janeshu abhegeshu saeva gokhara.
a human being who identifies his body made of three elements with his self, who considers the byproducts of the body to be his kinsmen, who considers the land of birth worshipable, and who goes to a place of pilgrimage simply to take a bath rather than meet men of transcendental knowledge, there is to be considered like an as a cow. Human civilization devoid of Krishna consciousness is simply a civilization of lower animals. Sometimes such a civilization may study the dead body and consider the brain or the heart. However, no part of the body is important unless the spiritual soul is present. In a modern civilization of cows and asses, scientists try to search out some value in the brain or heart of a dead man.
प्रभुपाद कितना नॉलेज रखते थे प्रभुपाद हर चीज विकृष्यमाणा प्रसभम यवनेन बलीयसा नाभि नंद तमसा विष्ट सखायम सुहृदम पुरा.
When King Puranjan was being dragged with great force by the powerful Yaman, out of his gross ignorance, he still could not remember his friend and Nagrishi of the Super Soul.
Yeah, so he could not. Sakhayam Suhridam Pura. Right from the beginning, his best friend, we could not remember. Okay, purport.
The Bhagavad Gita 5:29, Lord Krishna says, Bhuktaram Yurni Tapsam Sarvalokamam A person can be in full Krishna consciousness and become happy and satisfied if he knows but three things, namely that the Supreme Lord Krishna is the enjoyer of all benefits, that he is the proprietor of everything, and that he is the supreme friend of all living entities. If one does not know this and the functions instead under the bodily conception, he is always harassed by the tribulations offered by material nature. In actuality, the Supreme Lord is sitting by the side of everyone. Ishvara Sarvabhutana, the living entity and the super soul are sitting side by side in the same tree. But despite being harassed by the laws of material nature, the foolish living entity does not turn towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead for protection. However, he thinks that he is able to protect himself from the stringent laws of material nature. This, however, is not possible. The living entity must turn towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrender unto him. Only then will he be saved from the onslaught of the powerful Yaman or Yamaraj. The word Sakhyam, friend, is very significant in this verse because God is eternally present beside the living entity. The Supreme Lord is also described as Suvrita, ever well-wisher. The Supreme Lord is always a well-wisher, just like a father or mother. Despite all the offenses of his son, the father and mother are always the son's well-wisher. Similarly, despite all our offenses and defiance of the desires of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord will give us immediate relief from all the hardships offered by material nature. If we simply surrender unto Him, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Mam eva hi prapadyante, Maya Metam Tarantite. Unfortunately, due to our bad association and great attachment for sense gratification, we do not remember our best friend, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah, that is the misfortune. Tam yagye pashvonena sangyapta ye dayalunam kuthoraschachidu kruddha smaranto amivam asyetat.
That most unconnecting Puranjan had given many animals in various places. Now, taking advantage of this opportunity, all the animals began to pierce him with their horns. It was a thought he were being cut to pieces by axe.
The second preaching Narmani show to Prachin Parishit.
Yeah.
The animal shown in the sky waiting for his.
Yeah. So it's almost telling it will happen to you only. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Read.
Those who are very enthusiastic about killing animals in the name of religion or for food must avoid similar punishment after death. The word mams meat indicates that those animals whom we kill will be given an opportunity to kill us. Although in actuality no living entity is killed, the pains of being pierced by the horns of animals will be experienced after death. Not knowing this, rascals unhesitatingly go on killing poor animals. So-called human civilization has opened many slaughterhouses for animals in the name of religion or food. Those who are little religious kill animals in temple, mosque or synagogue. And those who are more fallen maintain various slaughterhouses. Just as in civilized human society, the law is life for life. No living entity can encroach upon another living entity as far as the Supreme Lord is concerned. Everyone should be given freedom to live at the cost of the Supreme Father. And animal killing, either for religion or food, is always condemned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita 16:19, Lord says, Tan aham drishita kuran
Samsareshwaradvan Shipami Adisamanshavan Asri Mevam Yonishu.
Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demonic species of life. The animal killers, Dushita, envying other living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are placed in the darkness and cannot understand the theme and objectives of life. This is further explained in the following verses.
Anantapare tamsi magno nashtasmiti sma shashwati anubhuyartim pramada sangadushita.
Due to his contaminated association with women, a living entity like King Puranjana eternally suffers all the pangs of material existence and remains in the dark region of material life, bereft of all remembrance for many, many years.
Yes. Shashwati, practically eternally, no? anubhuya, experiencing artim, the threefold miseries, pramada sanga dushita. So contaminating is the association of women. Okay. Pramada sang dushita, shashvater anubhuya artim. We become nitya bhat. In 11th canto also, Uddhav says, the most powerful bondage for all the things in the material world is attachment to women. That is a major cause of bondage. And that's what we are. Shashvata anubhuya arti. For life after life, for eternity, we are feeling miseries. Just by pramada sanga dushita. So strong. Just imagine. That's why Prabhupada says in one of the purports, the biggest benefit one can give to the humankind is to train them to get free from sex desire. That is the biggest benefit we can do to any human being. That is the biggest benefit we can give to ourselves, to the devotees. If we can, if we can create a culture of brahmacharya, celibacy, and if we can train others, train ourselves also to get free from desire for sex. Otherwise, it is shashvata anubhuta arte. For eternal time, a living entity will keep on suffering. So strong. Okay. Yes, Prabhu. This is the description of.
This is the description of material existence. Material existence is experienced when one becomes attached to woman and forgets his real identity as an eternal servant of Krishna.
Yeah, you can see experience. Now we are sitting, all brahmacharis are sitting. As soon as when Mataji will enter, we all become conscious. Immediately, an opposite sex comes, one becomes very conscious like this. We want to be free. Similarly, just appearance of a opposite sex will make us body conscious. And if we become attached to them, just imagine. So, nasht smriti, we forget our real identity. Next.
In this way, in one body after another, the living entity perpetually suffers threefold miseries of material existence. To save human civilization from the darkness of ignorance, this movement was started.
Yeah.
The main purpose of this Krishna consciousness movement is to enlighten the forgetful living entity and remind him of his original Krishna consciousness. In this way, the living entity can be saved from the catastrophe of ignorance as well as bodily transmigration. As Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung, Anadi karma phale, padi bhavar navajale,
Tarivare na dekhe upaye, ei vishe hala hale, devane she hiya jole, man kabhu sukh nahi paye.
Because of my past fruitive activities, I have now fallen into an ocean of innocence. I cannot find any means to get out of this great ocean, which is indeed like an ocean of poison. We are trying to be happy through the sense enjoyment, but actually, that so called enjoyment is like a food that is too hot and causes burning in the heart. I feel a burning sensation constantly, day and night, and thus my mind cannot find satisfaction. Material existence is always full of anxiety. People are always trying to find many ways to mitigate anxiety. But because they are not guided by the real leader, they try to forget material anxiety through drink and sex indulgence. Foolish people do not know that by attempting to escape anxiety by drink and sex, they simply increase their duration of material life. It is not possible to escape material anxiety in this way. The word pramada, sanga, dushita indicates that apart from all other contamination, if one simply remains attached to women, that single contamination will be sufficient to prolong one's miserable material existence. Consequently, in Vedic civilization, one is trained from the beginning to give up attachment for women. The first stage of life is brahmacharya. The second stage grihastha. The third stage vanaprastha, and the fourth stage sannyasa. All these stages are devised to enable one to detach himself from the association of men.
Baba says first class life is from brahmachari to sannyas. No need of entering grastha or vanaprastha. Okay. And religious organization is gone, and we all are acting as leaders in some capacity. It is said a leader especially should be free from the attachment to wealth and women. If one is attached to wealth and women, he will not be able to do real good to others, because these desires will make him very cripple-minded. So he won't be able to do real good to others. So it's one should we have to train our mind like this. And Srila Prabhupada, in one of the purport, very interesting, I'd like to share with you. It's 563. How to Prabhupada says that, this I change this color. Can you read this? If we stick to the principle of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra offenselessly, then by the grace of Srila Haridas Thakur, we may be saved from the allurement of women. However, if we are not very strict in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we may at any time fall victim to women. Our all living entities' attraction for the opposite sex is so deep rooted. Although we have come to the ashram, but the attraction for the opposite sex is so deep rooted. The only remedy is to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra offenselessly. Then, by the grace of Srila Haridas Thakur, we may be saved. And if we are not very strict, at any time we may fall down. This is how we should take our chanting of the holy name and avoiding offenses very seriously. We may be chanting the holy name, but if we are not trying to avoid offenses, it won't be effective. And then if we commit offenses, the attraction for women will increase. The lusty desires will increase. We know the case of Saubhri Muni. So it happens, In the initial years in the ashram, we don't feel so much of agitation. Whatever, after spending few years, we think these lusty desires are increasing. The main cause is because after moving to the ashram, we commit offenses. In the beginning, we are not so offensive. We are very respectful. We are in the learning stage. But after spending few years, because we are not treating devotees nicely, we are committing some offenses. So the lusty desires come back. So it's very important, because as long as we have these desires, this Shashvat Anubhuya Artin, continuously, life after life, one keeps on facing miseries. Okay? That's very important. 3.
5, 6, 3.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Tamev manasagrehan babhuva pramodottama anantanam vidharbhasya rajasingasya veshmani. Okay. Now he takes a birth of a woman. Yeah.
King Puranjana gave up his body while remembering his wife, and consequently, in his next life, he became a very beautiful and well-situated woman. He took his next birth as a daughter of King Vidarbha in the very house of the king.
Yeah, perfect.
Since King Puranjana thought of his wife at the time of death, he attained the body of a woman in his next birth.
Yeah.
Please verify the following words in Bhagavad Gita. Yam
Yeah.
yam va smaran bhavam yajanti ante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavata. Whatever the state of being one remembers and includes his body, that state he will attain without fault. When living entity is accustomed to think of particular subject matter or become absorbed in a certain type of thought, he will think of that subject at the time of death. At the time of death, one will think of the subject that has occupied his life while he was awake, lightly sleeping or dreaming, or while he was deeply sleeping. After falling from the association of Supreme Lord, the living entity thus transmigrates from one bodily form to another according to the nature's course until he finally attains the human form. If he is absorbed in material thoughts and ignorant of spiritual life, and if he does not take the shelter under the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, who solves all questions of birth and death, he will become woman in the next life, especially if he thinks of his wife. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Karmana Daiva Netrena, a living entity acts piously and impiously, and sometimes in both ways. All actions are taken into account, and the living entity is offered a new body by his superiors. Although King Puranjana was overly attached to his wife, he nonetheless performed many pious fruitive activities. Consequently, although he took the form of woman, he was given a chance to be the daughter of the powerful king. As in the Bhagavad Gita, it says,
Tamlokan Shita Shashata Sam Sushinam Shrimatam Gahe Yoga Brishto Vijayate.
The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment in the planets of the pious living entities, is born into the family of righteous people or into the family of rich aristocracy. If a person falls from the path of Bhakti Yoga, God realization, due to attachment to fruitive activity, philosophical speculations, or mystic yoga, he is given a chance to take birth in the high and rich family. The higher authorities appointed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead thus render justice to the living entity according to the living entity's desires. Although King Puranjana was overly absorbed in the thoughts of his wife and thus became woman, he took birth in the family of king due to previous pious activities. The conclusion is that all our activities are taken into consideration before we are awarded human body. Narada Muni therefore advised Vasudeva that one should take to Krishna consciousness devotional service and abandon all ordinary occupational duties. This advice was also given by Lord Krishna himself. Although a devotee may fall from the path of spiritual consciousness, he will nonetheless attain a human body in the home of a devotee, a rich man. This way one can resume his devotional service.
Yeah. So we'll get human body. I mean, most of you will go back to Godhead. But still, if we are not done it completely, at least we are assured of human body. But Prabhupada says, don't delay it. Complete the process in this life only. Okay, because Kali Yuga is increasing and we don't know. Next life also, if we become complacent, no problem, next life. No problem, next life. So it may take long time, and then, because any time we can misuse our free will. So better, because like Prabhupada used to give example, if a student is aiming to score 90%, then he will score 75%. If one is aiming to just, what is the passing mark, 35%, then he will certainly fail. So we should aim high, then there are some chances. Okay, that way. OPMA Viryapanam Vaidarbhim Malyadhvaja Yudhi Nirjatya Rajanyan Pandaya Parapunjaya.
It was fixed that whether the daughter of king whether was to be
Mike, take Mike.
it was fixed that whether the daughter of
29th.
It was fixed that the elderly daughter of King Vidura was to be married to a very powerful and Malay Dwaj, an inhabitant of Pandu country. After conquering other princes, he married the daughter of King Vidura.
Yeah, you can read this commentary by Vishwajit Thakur.
As long as the jiva does not have bhakti, he cannot get deliverance from
Sansara.
Bhakti is spontaneous. It arises from association with devotees by spontaneous mercy of devotees. That is shown in Puranjan's next life as Vaidharvi, where he attended association with devotees through marriage. Malayadwaj means the best result among the devotees who are equal to Malay mountain ranges, since they are worthy of the same worship.
Okay. OPMA.
When married can means accepting to be a student. He price for wealth can also means no one else could be accepted as teacher because he had great mercy as his father.
अस्मिन् लोके वर्तमान स्वधर्मस्थ अनघ शुचि ज्ञातम विशुद्धम आपनोति मद भक्तिम यदृच्छया.
One who is situated in his prescribed duty, free from sinful activities and cleaned of material contamination, in this very life obtains transcendental knowledge or by fortune devotional service unto me. The Bhagavatam 11:20.
भवत वर्गो भ्रमतो यदा भवे जनस्य तर्हि अच्युत सत्समागा सत्संगमो यर्हि तदेव सद्गतो परावरेशे त्वजायते मति.
The material life of a wandering soul has ceased, O Achyuta. He may attend the association of your devotees. And when he associates with them, their awareness brings him devotion unto you, who are the goal of the devotees and the Lord of all causes.
This is the prayer by King Muchukund. Okay, so it's saying when Krishna has decided to end the material existence of a living entity, he has avoided the association of devotees. Okay, yeah. So these verses show.
These verses show that bhakti arises in the jiva in some world from sudden association with a devotee. He had defeated other kings. This means that he had uprooted all sins, offenses, time, and karma. Pandya means he was from Pandya province, or he who could discriminate between matter and spirit.
Puranjaya
means he also conquered the city of enemies, or he who cut the doubt arises from other philosophies.
Okay, so this is given about the Malyadhwaj. So Malyadhwaj had defeated all other kings. All other kings means what? Sin, offenses, time, karma. And he belonged to the Pandya dynasty, Pandya province. He was the king of Pandya province. He could discriminate between matter and spirit. And Par Puranjaya, he conquered the cities of enemies. Par Puranjaya comes in the verse. OPMA means becoming a student. Vaidharvi Maladhvaja Yudhim Jit Rajanya Pandava Par Punjaya. Param Punjaya. Param Puranjaya. Okay, conquering the cities. So here it means conquering the city means he who cut the doubts arising from other philosophies. See, that was the qualification of Malyadhwaj. He had cut the doubts arising from other philosophies. That means other philosophies are considered to conquer the cities of enemies. He was from the Pandya province. That means he could discriminate between matter and spirit, and he had defeated other kings. Okay, and he was like the topmost devotee, like the Malaya provinces. Now, purport, please.
It is customary among Kshatriyas for a princess to be offered under certain conditions. For instance, Draupadi was offered in marriage to one who could pierce a fish with an arrow simply by seeing the reflection of that fish. Krishna married one of his queens after conquering 7 strong bulls. The Vedic system is for a daughter of a king to be offered under certain conditions. Vaidarbhi, the daughter of Vidarbha, was offered to a great devotee and powerful king. Since King Malayadvaja was both a powerful king and a great devotee, he fulfilled all the requirements. The name Malayadvaja signifies a great devotee who stands as firm as Malaya Hill and through his propaganda make other devotees similarly as firm. Such Mahabharata can prevail over the opinions of all others. A strong devotee makes propaganda against all other spiritual conceptions, namely Gnana, Karma, and Yoga. With his devotional flag unfurled, he always stands fast to conquer other conceptions of transcendental realization. Whenever there is an argument between a devotee and a non devotee, the pure, strong devotee comes out victorious. The word Pandya comes from the word Panda, meaning knowledge. Unless one is highly learned, he cannot conquer non devotional conceptions. The word Para means transcendental and Pura means city. The Parapura is Vaikunta, the kingdom of God, and the word Jaya refers to one who can conquer. This means that a pure devotee who is strong in devotional service and who has conquered all non devotional conceptions can also conquer the kingdom of God. In other words, one can conquer the kingdom of God Vaikuntha only by rendering devotional service. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Ajita, meaning that no one can conquer him, but a devotee by strong devotional service and sincere attachment to the Supreme Personality of Godhead can easily conquer him. Lord Krishna is fear personified for everyone, but he voluntarily agreed to fear the stick of Mother Yashoda. Krishna, God, cannot be conquered by anyone but his devotee. Such a devotee kindly married the daughter of King Vaidarbha.
So what are the qualifications of Malayadvaj?
He is a strong devotee and he also delivers others also.
Delivers.
Against karma kanda jnana.
Okay. And what else?
His full knowledge of Para.
His full knowledge of Vaikuntha. And what else? I just read. Twice we have read. Krishna Chakra's commentary also and Prabhupada's commentary also. He is strong, can defeat other philosophies, and he can discriminate. He means knowledge. He is highly learned, and Parapura Jai. He can conquer the Vaikuntha. So he was high class devotee. Okay. Tasyam cha janyam chakra atmajam asitekshanam yaviyase sapta sutan sapta dravida bhubhrata. Yes.
King Malad was fathered one daughter who had very black eyes. He also had 7 sons who later became rulers of that tract of land known as Dravid. Thus there were 7 kings in that land.
Okay. Similarly, so interesting. You can read commentary also. Asit Akshena.
Asitakshana was the daughter's name. It can also mean she who received the grace of Krishna.
Glance.
Glance of Krishna. Asit. Thus it means one who has taste for serving Krishna.
Yes.
By the mercy of Guru, the Jiva developed the taste for serving Krishna. The 7 sons were born later. They are hearing, remembering, chanting, serving the lotus feet, deity worship, bowing down, and servitude. Because friendship and full surrender are difficult in the beginning and will appear spontaneously later, they are not mentioned. The sons were kings of the southern province. The southern provinces are renowned for prominence of bhakti, hearing and chanting. The 7 processes ruled like kings, having subdued karma, jnana, and other truths.
Yeah. So sons are the 7 processes of devotional service, and daughter is Asit Ikshana. Asit Ikshana is his service attitude, taste for serving Krishna. Okay. So purport also, read.
King Malad was great devotee. And after he married the daughter of King Vidarbha, he gave her one nice daughter whose eyes were black. Figuratively, this means that the daughter of King Malaysia was also bestowed with devotional service, for her eyes were always fixed on Krishna. A devotee has no vision in his life other than Krishna. The seven sons are seven processes of devotional service: hearing, chanting, remembering, offering worship, offering prayers, rendering transcendental loving service, and serving the lotus feet of Lord. Of the 9 types of devotional service, only 7 were immediately given. The balance, friendship, and surrendering everything were to be developed later. In other words, devotional service is divided into 2 categories, namely Vidhi Marga and Raga Marga. The process of becoming friends with Lord and sacrificing everything for Him belongs to the category of Raga Marga, the stage of developed devotional service. For the neophyte, the important processes are those of hearing and chanting, Sravanam Kirtanam, remembering Krishna, worshipping the deity in the temple, offering prayers and always engaging in the service of the Lord, and worshipping the lotus feet of Lord. The word Yaviyashna indicates that these processes are very powerful. After a devotee engages in the process of Sravanam Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam Mandaram Dasyam, and is able to secure these processes, he can later become a devotee capable of rendering spontaneous devotional service, namely Sakhyam and Atmanivedana. Generally, the great Acharya who preach devotional service all over the world belong to the category of Sakhyam Atmanivedana. A neophyte devotee cannot actually become a preacher. The neophyte is advised to execute devotional service in the 7 other fields, Sravanam, Kirtanam, etc. If one can successfully execute the preliminary 7 attempts, he can in the future be situated on the platform of Sakhyam Atmanivedanam. The specific mention of Dravid Desh refers to the 5 Dravid Deshas in the southern India. All are very strong in rendering preliminary devotional processes, Sravanam Kirtanam. Some great Acharya like Ramanujacharya and Madhvacharya also came from Dravid Desh and became great preachers. They were all situated on the platform Sakhyam Atmanivedanam.
Yeah. Verse 31. Ekekasya bhavatesham rajan arbudam bhokshate yadvanshdarhi mahi manvantaram param.
My dear king, Prachit Varishat, the sons of Maladhaja gave birth to many thousands and thousands of sons. And all of these have been protecting the entire world up to the end of one Manu's lifespan in an afterworld.
Yeah. So purport.
There are 40 Manus in one day of Brahma. A Manvantar, the lifespan of one Manu, is given as 70 multiplied 43 lakhs 20,000 years. After one such Manu passes on, another Manu begins his lifespan. In this way, the life cycle of universe is going on. As one Manu follows another, the cult of Krishna consciousness is being imparted as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 4.1. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Evam Vyasate Yogam Prokta Mahamya Vyastan Maha. The Supreme Personality what it said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god, Vivaswan, and Vivaswan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. Vivaswan, the sun god, imparted Bhagavad Gita to one Manu, and this Manu imparted it to his son, who imparted it to yet another Manu. In this way, the propagation of Krishna consciousness is never stopped. No one should think that this Krishna conscious movement is a new movement. As confirmed by Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, it is very old movement. For it has been passing down from one Manu to another. Among Vaishnavas, there will be some difference of opinion due to everyone's personal identity, but despite all personal differences, the cult of Krishna consciousness must go on. We can see that under the instruction of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj began preaching the Krishna conscious movement in an organized way within the past 100 years. The disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj are all called brothers. And although there are some differences of opinion, although we are not acting cogently, everyone of us is spreading the Krishna conscious movement according to his own capacity and produce many disciples to spread it all over the world. As far as we are concerned, we have already started the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and many thousands of Europeans and Americans have joined this movement. Indeed, this is spreading like wildfire. The cult of Krishna consciousness, based on the 9 principles of devotional service, Shravanam Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padsevanam, Archanam Vandanam, Dasam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam, Central 23, will never be stopped. It will go on without the distinction of caste, creed, color, or country. No one can check it. The word bhokshate is very important in this verse. Just as the king gives protection to his citizens, these devotees, following the principles of devotional service, will give protection to all the people of the world. The people of the world are very much harassed by so-called religious, principled swamis, yogis, karmis, and jnanis. But none of these can show the right way to become elevated to the spiritual platform. There are primarily 4 parties spreading devotional service all over the universe. These are the Ramanuja Sampradaya, the Madhva Sampradaya, the Vishnudhara Sampradaya, and the Marg Sampradaya. The Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya is particular comes from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All these devotees are spreading this Krishna conscious movement very widely and giving protection to the innocent people who are being so much embarrassed by pseudo avatars, swamis, yogis, and others.
Yeah. Okay. So it's clear. What is the daughter indicates? Yeah, devotional service attitude. And the 7 sons? 7 rulers. Okay. Yeah. And these bhokshate means these devotees, this Shravanam Kirtanam, this will give protection to all the people of the world. Yeah. Okay. Agastya praga duhitaram upiye me dhrita vratam yasyam dridhuchoto jat idham atmajo muni.
The great sage named Agastya married the first-born daughter of Malayasaya, the avowed devotee of Lord Krishna. From her, one son was born, whose name was Dhrishchuta, and from him another son was born, whose name was Idhva Moha.
Yeah.
The name.
One sec. Here is a commentary also. Interest. Agastya. Commentary. Yeah, question.
Really, this is like now an allegory, from allegory to again Chandavega, another allegory, and now this is what, like these details in this, the translations, are there allegorical or real?
All allegorical.
This.
But philosophy is real. Names are this, but philosophy is real.
Sorry.
Philosophy is real. Malya Dhwaj, this is all allegorical. But like a devotee is strong, he will beget sons, 7 process of devotional service. They will give protection to the people in general.
That philosophy is
Yeah.
and details, really, the details like
These are all names.
ruling
Yes, these are all stories.
and, but in the purpose, Srila Prabhupada also quoting details.
So Prabhupada is always giving the ultimate. Prabhupada's intent is not the technical flow. Prabhupada's intent is what we should get from this. So although it is allegorical, it is not myth, it is reality.
And nowhere you find that it's like myth.
It's not a myth. Yeah, it's complete facts.
But it does not show that it is allegorical also. That's why it's like, again the same thing is, the same flow is going on, or like...
Same flow is going on. It is Puranjanani who has become Vaidharbi. So Vaidharbi is not reality. Vaidharbi is there Maladhwaj is there. Now Maladhwaj will leave his body. Everything will happen. So then after that, Prachin Bharisha will be confused. What is happening? What is all this? Then he will explain in the next chapter. Agastya is coming. Yeah, please.
Augusta married the first daughter. Augusta means one who brings together stuff. All the senses which cannot act Augusta.
This means
This means the mind which accepted a taste ruchi for Krishna.
yeah, because the first daughter was, what was her name? Ikshana. What was his name? Asidikshana. Na? Now one who has developed a taste. So that is a ruchi. And the mind is married with ruchi. So mind has developed a ruchi. Yeah.
That taste produced from vows of mercy, tolerance, and other good qualities. This means that from taste ruchi, by great mercy, the mind of Jiva then developed asakti for serving Krishna. That asakti was devoid of Shutaha, attachment, Dridha, to Satyalok, and other places. This means it has distaste for enjoyment of this world and higher worlds, or they develop distaste for other practices like jnana and for liberation. That means the mind was completely devoid of desire for other practices or goals because of the exclusive taste for serving Krishna. How did all this arise? He had a son, Idvamaha, one who carries firewood for sacrifices. This is famous in the Shruti passage, Tad Vijnanartham Sagurum Eva Vigachet, Samit Pani Stotriyam Brahmanishtam. With fuel in hand, one should approach a guru learned in the Vedas and fixed in the Lord for knowledge of the Lord. It means surrender to Guru. According to the storyline, Agastya had a son named Vidachut, who had a son named Idmavaha. This is the description of the descendant of Malayadhwa's daughter.
So Maladhwa's daughters, so they had a taste, then asakti, then drid, achyut, no attachment for any enjoyment for this material world. And how it came, Idvamaha, because she was satisfying the orders of the Guru. Okay. Purport, then we stop this purport. Purport, please.
The name Agastya Muni is very significant. Agastya Muni represents the mind. The word Agastya indicates that the senses do not act independently, and the word Muni means mind. The mind is the center of all senses, and thus the senses cannot work independent of the mind. When the mind takes to the cult of bhakti, it engages in devotional service. The cult of bhakti, Bhakti Lata, is the first daughter of Malayadhwaj. And as previously described, her eyes are always upon Krishna, Asit Krishna. One cannot render bhakti to any demigod. Bhakti can be rendered only to Vishnu. Sravanam kirtana Vishnu. Thinking the absolute truth to be without form. The Mayavadi says that the word bhakti can apply to any form of worship. If this were the case, a devotee could imagine any demigod or any godly form and worship it. This, however, is not the real fact. The real fact is that bhakti can be applied only to the Lord Vishnu and is expansion. Therefore, Bhakti Lata is Gritavata, the great vow, or when the mind is completely engaged in devotional service. The mind does not fall down. If one tries to advance by other means, by Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga, one will fall down. But if one is fixed in bhakti, he never falls down. Thus, from Bhakti Lata, the son Dridachyut is born, and from Dridachyut, the next son Idma Vaha is born. The word Idma Vaha refers to one who carries wood for burning in sacrifices when approaching a spiritual master. The point is that Bhakti Lata, the cult of devotion, fixes one in his spiritual position. One so fixed never come down, and he begets children who are strict followers of the Shastric injunctions. As stated in the Vedas, Tad Vijnanartham Sagurum Eva Vigachet, Samit Pani Shotriyam Brahmanishtam. In the line of devotional service, those who are initiated are strict followers of the Vedic system.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll stop here. We'll continue tomorrow. We have done almost half the chapter. 65 verses are there. We have completed 32. So tomorrow we will be easily completing this chapter. Yeah.
Between when you say this, we have 21 words that how does Krishna say? 11 21 words.
Yeah.
You are quoting Krishna says that the sex life is the main life after life. Eternally you may keep working. So when we hear this kind of thing, that the whole consciousness goes into that thrust only, that just protect yourself from this evil. Then I was thinking also that the bhakti has to be for the pleasure of Guru.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why like this? How to balance this? और कैसे steps लें ताकि अगर माइंड तो जा रहा है तो इसको प्रोटेक्ट करो, ऐसे सेल्फिशनेस जैसा ना हो जाए वो गुरु के संतति जी तब तो कुछ लाइफ में नहीं है.
So protection is Guru's instructions only. On my own, on with my sadhana, with my protection, creating walls all around me, that won't protect me. Only Guru's mercy will protect us. If I devise my own ways, I will fall in Maya. It's only Guru's mercy. The Guru has ordered us to go and preach, we should preach. But Guru has also instructed us to stay away from women. So we preach, taking all precautions. And Guru has also instructed us to maintain good sadhana. So we take all Guru's instructions, follow them, so we are safe. It doesn't mean that not to go out, not to preach. No, then we'll fall in Maya. We have seen many devotees. Many devotees go into withdrawal symptom. For some reason or other, if they are not happy with management, something has happened, they withdraw themselves from services. And if the independence comes, you're gone. It's very difficult to save them.
So protection is not in withdrawal consciousness.
No.
That after reading Hare Krishna.
No. This morning he was saying the knowledge will not save us. Knowledge cannot save us. Knowledge could not save a Jamil. Morning. Prabhuji was saying that in knowledge all the Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, all them would have cleared the exam. It's not knowledge, it's our realizations, it's our character that will save us.
And that will come by service to Guru.
Yes.
As per our Vedika.
Yes.
Yeah. But that only actual protection will.
Yes.
Here, when we see protection, this is the devotee's protection we see first. The service authorities, equals, they remind us, they caution us, they give us love, support. That protection, are like Guru gives some instruction, we are trying to follow it. Which protection is
It's in both. They're not separate. By Guru's mercy, only we are in the association of devotees. It's Guru's instruction only to stay in the association of devotees. By Guru's order only we are staying in the association of devotees. No? And that is giving us protection. It's all one thing. How it is separate.
seeing that connection is a challenge.
Yeah, that is, everything is by coming by mercy of Guru. Everything. His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj gives an example. Sometimes, a child is not very much connected with the father. He is more connected with his mother. He sees his mother is taking care of everything. Mother is changing clothes. Mother is giving money. Mother is taking me out. And the father is working outside in some other city, sending money and rarely coming. Everything is provided by father. But the child is not seeing that. Similarly, for us, everything is being provided by Guru. We may or may not be able to say his direct hand. All these facilities, who has done on this? Guru only. So we have been given the association of devotees. Devotees are giving us love, protection, affection. It's all by the mercy of Guru only.
here there are 2 points I was just thinking. This Puranjana, he got a woman form because Karmana Daiva Netrana, he thought about women. And he got a birth in the rich family as a daughter of Vidarbha king because he has done some pious activities. So these pious activities are devotional activities or karmakandic activities?
Karmakandic activities. But Yadrichya, or just by chance, somehow or other, she got married to Malyadhwaj, a great devotee. So, devotional service comes from the heart of a devotee. Yeah. So, Malyadhwaj, from there the devotional service came to Vidarbha. It was a sudden, Bhakti appeared suddenly, just by the mercy of devotee.
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous.
So, in our life, Rosie, there is another purport we get. After crossing through 84 lakhs of species, then we get human body. I think yesterday or today morning we were reading. So if the bhakti is the devotee coming into our life is a desire of that devotee, right? He spontaneously, uncauselessly, he came and gave us the seed of devotional service. When we are trying, yesterday in Japa, in evening Brahmachari classes we were mentioning, while chanting when the mind is going off, just express, oh my Lord, I am not the mind. Just by that expression,
I am yours.
I am yours. Mind is coming, I am not coming. When the devotion came spontaneously to us, of course, our endeavors are there, our expressions, services, whatever endeavors we are doing. Why not that progress also be a spontaneous one?
Automatic. One day I open my eyes, I am in Golok Dham. Ah, yeah. Now it won't happen. Yatan agrah bina bhakti na janmai prem. We have to do yatan. Because when we do sincere efforts, that is an expression of our sincere desire. Yes, I want to love you, Krishna. I want to accept you. If spontaneously we are taken into Golok Dham, क्यों लाए भाई यहाँ पे? We won't take it for granted. मुझे आना ही नहीं था, जबरदस्ती ले आए.
At least that the shloka it came, Kulshekar Alvar says that I don't know what will happen at the time of death.
Yeah.
Now I am seriously surrendered to you, feeling for you, develop that attraction towards you. Please take me now.
Yeah.
So that is our asking.
Yeah, desire you can express, but you have to work hard for that. Nothing happens on its own. कुछ पाने के लिए नहीं, कुछ करना पड़ता है. खोने से भी कुछ नहीं होगा. हाँ, पाना पड़ता है, रोना पड़ता है, प्रार्थना करनी पड़ती है, बहुत करना पड़ता है. प्रभुपाद ने कितना कुछ किया. Then Prabhupada got this some success. So कुछ पाने के लिए बहुत कुछ करना पड़ता है.
Hare Krishna. So exam will be on Saturday, 11 o'clock. And day after tomorrow. Okay. And next is this OBA. Devotees are writing. So yesterday again the request has come from the checker devotees that 2 things we need to really. First is you have to clearly write your name on the OBS of copy, your name, the unit, like the unit number, chapter of Bhagavatam, question, your name, clearly you have to write. Second thing is many devotees are writing OBA very short, without studying much, just to complete OBA within time or date. Something, one paragraph they can write. So,
Concise, very concise.
So this is third time we are announcing. Now after this we will not announce. Now after this we will mark it whatever you have sent, and if it is not qualified, then it will show up in your marks, And towards the end of the course, then we will be sure the license for you to write many OBs that in August. So now we will not announce any further. This last announcement for OBA should be proper. We will project initially only, I'm sure it will be 20% proper quotations around. Other than that, your own study and assimilation and your own writing. You can quote a Krishna song, which will proper pastime also. Your own writer. And it should be around 800 to 900 words. 100 words up and down, so around 900 words or 800 words can be. So this is the proper OB. Now we will not announce, we will just correct it the way whatever we have sent and send your marks also. And if you have not written your name on the OBs, we have 10 OB or already printed, so tomorrow I can show. There is no name or nothing is mentioned, anything is not visible. And regarding this online link for the class, is that Samshil Prabhuji had around 1 year ago only strictly told not to send any online link to devotees. So if anybody wants online link for some purpose, you have to send email to me or to Chaitanya Prabhu. Then I take permission from Chaitanya Prabhu or Samshil Prabhuji. Like Ram Govinda Prabhu, he is having liver and some kidney stone problem. Daily going to hospital also, so he needs for him, he can give. But other devotees, online link project, requested not.
Sankirtan devotees.
Sankirtan devotees have to attend this. Yeah, otherwise they have to do Sankirtan. And last, okay, exams. Exam is day after tomorrow, 11 o'clock, hall we will take. Hare Krishna, thank you. And cake Shadam is there, Mahap Shadam is there, while leaving, please take little note. Thank you.
Okay.
We will stop with you, ask personally. Suppose 45.
So tomorrow we are having again our birthday festival in the morning 9 a.m. All the devotees are invited and requested to come. Glorification of devotees.